So guys, these are all the components that we'll be needing. I've already cut them out. We have the straps, the band, the cup, and then the applique. Okay, the straps is about 3 inches wide and 30 inches long. Okay, so to sew it, you're going to fold it into two, right side facing right side, and then you sew straight down from the top to the bottom. This is the band. It is about 9 inches wide and 30 inches long. Okay, so the width is 9 inches wide because by the time I fold it into two and then I sew it to the cups, it is going to be 4 inches. Okay, I'll be using ½ inch to attach it to the cups, and then the length is 30 inches because my underbust measurement is 29 inches. Okay, so I'll be using the remaining 1 inch to finish the edges, and then I'll be attaching hook and eye to it. If you want an elongated band, okay, you can make yours longer so that you'll be able to tie it. Now this is the lace trimming I'll be using. It's an optional item. It's just for decorative purposes actually. So now to the cups. I have cut out the pattern. I used my pattern to cut the fabric out. Okay, so I cut out 4 pieces. Okay, 2 for the outer part and 2 for the inner part, okay, which is also going to serve as the lining. You can use different fabrics for the inner and outer part. It actually depends on what you want, okay, but ensure that you're cutting out 4 pieces of the same pattern and measurement. Okay, so looking at this, I added 0.5 inch sewing allowance round the pattern. Okay, and then I also added the fusible interfacing as well because the fabric is light. Okay, so now to the arrangement of how we are going to sew it. Okay, I'm going to put the center front pattern, okay, on the side pattern. Okay, I would ensure that my notches match. Okay, and then I'm going to sew them right side facing right side, okay, with an ½ inch seam allowance. Okay, so just to recap, I'll put the center front pattern over the side front pattern, okay, and then I'll sew them together with a 0.5 inch seam allowance. So like I said earlier, I'm going to sew all the cups together with a 0.25 inch. Okay, so I later decided to add another form of interfacing to the outer part, okay, to the outer cup. Okay, this is actually more stronger, okay, than the fusible one that I used earlier. Okay, I actually decided to put this because I don't like it when the nipple point is actually showing through the fabric. I hope you understand what I mean. Okay, so this will conceal the nipple from showing outside. Okay, this kind of interfacing is actually optional. Okay, if you want it, you go for it, and if you don't, you just sew it that way. So after sewing the cups, this is what I have. Okay, the one with the foam interfacing and the one with the other kind of interfacing. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do, since this foam interfacing is going to form the outer part, first of all I'm going to trim the foam, the excess foam, yeah, the excess interfacing that is after the seam allowance. Okay, that is because I want the front to lay flat. Okay, so here is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to cut through the excess foam, just like what I'm doing here exactly. Cut through the excess foam. Don't cut into the seam, don't cut into the seam, just cut the excess foam all through. Okay, and then after doing that, the next thing you're going to do is to notch all the curved areas. Okay, so like I always say, anytime you're sewing a curved area, ensure to notch so that your fabric can lay flat on your body. So I'm going to do that to all the 4 pieces of fabric that we have here. After doing that, I'm going to iron all the seam allowances. Okay, I'm going to iron them so that they can be flat. So to work on the straps, what I'm going to do is to turn it inside out. Okay, remember I told you to sew the strap from the top to the bottom. Okay, so I have done that, and then I'm going to use my safety pin to turn it inside out so that the right side of the strap will be revealed. So after working on all the components individually, okay, the next thing is to put them together, okay, so that we can start forming the bralette. Okay, as you can see, I've ironed all my seam allowances. I've also ironed the strap, so everything is flat. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is to place the right side of the outer part up just like this, and then I'll be placing the right side of the inner part, which is also the lining, on top of the right side of the outer part. Okay, so what I mean is just right side facing right side. Okay, but then in between it, I'm going to place my strap. Okay, so I'm going to sandwich the strap in between these cups. Okay, and then I'm going to sew it by the sides, just the sides, don't sew the bottom part. So after sewing at the sides, okay, just like this, the next thing I'm going to do is to notch the curved part. Okay, notch the curved part so that when you turn it inside out, yeah, the fabric, the cup will actually lay flat on the body. Also, I'm going to trim that top part. Okay, you see that top part where the strap is actually showing. Okay, so from the wrong side, I'm just going to trim it so that by the time I turn it inside out, the upper part would not be bulging. Okay, so now I'm turning the cup inside out, and this is what I have. Okay, so you can just iron it at this point. Okay, iron the sides. Okay, and make sure that it is flat. Okay, so after doing this, the next thing I am going to do is to attach the band. Okay, I'm going to attach the band to the cups. Okay, so now the band is here, right side facing up, and also the cup is here, right side facing up. Yeah, so the first thing I'm going to do is to notch the midpoint of my band. Okay, so whatever length your band is, okay, notch the midpoint, okay, at the top and at the bottom, because we are going to attach the cup to the band from the midpoint. Okay, we don't want to put on unnecessary space, okay, at that center front. Okay, I hope you understand me. So at that midpoint, what we're going to do is just to flip your cup over. Okay, just the way I'm doing it. Okay, so flip the cup over and put the center front. Okay, ensure that the center front is on the notch, okay, which is the midpoint of the band. Okay, I hope you can see this. So flip your cup over and put the center front right on the notch. Okay, and then you pin it down. That is what you're going to do to both cups. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do after pinning it down is just to sew a basting stitch first. Okay, I don't want too much pins on this fabric. Okay? So I'm just going to sew a basting stitch to hold it down, then I'll remove the pins, and then I'll show you what next to do. So guys, here is a sneak peek into our project. Okay, at this point I was actually thinking of changing what the band looks like. Okay, I was thinking of making it an handkerchief flare or just making it wider. I actually thought it was very beautiful this way. Okay, but then I decided to go on with what I intended to do, okay, in the first place. So now let's go back to sewing. So guys, after sewing the basting stitch. This is what it looks like, okay, and this is what it looks like on the outside too. Okay, so now to the next step, I'm going to turn it right side facing up, okay, and then I'll flip the cups over, okay, like we did initially. Okay, after flipping it over this way, I'm going to bring the bottom part of the band, okay, to meet up with the top part. Okay, ensure that the notches match. Okay, that was the essence of notching it. Okay, and then I'm going to pin it down, okay, all through from the midpoint to the sides, okay, on both sides. Okay, so after pinning it, I'm going to sew it with a straight line, okay, 0.5 inch allowance. So I'm just going to sew straight down, ensure that your straps are not in the way. Okay, so just sew it straight down. After sewing it straight down, okay, with a 0.5 inch allowance, this is what I have. Yeah, so what I'm doing here is just to put my hands through the hole, okay, to pull out the cups. Okay, do it gently so that your seam will not tear apart. Okay, so just pull out the cup from one end of the fabric actually. Yeah, so pull out the cups and then lay it flat, iron it. Okay, give it a good press. Okay, so here it is, guys, we are almost done. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is to attach the hook and eye. Okay, so I'm going to use this hook and eye pins. I'm going to sew it to inside the fold. Okay, you can see that I folded that was the 1 inch allowance I was telling you earlier. Okay, that was what made the band 30 inches instead of 29 inches. Okay, so I'm going to sew the hook and eye inside the fold. Okay, I'll be hand stitching it actually. So after doing that, this is what I have. Okay, you can see how beautiful it is. Okay, but I think it's actually too plain for me, so just to add some spice to it, I'm going to put my lace trimming on it. Okay, I'll put it on one side of the cup, okay, just to make it more beautiful. And yes, here it is. You see how beautiful it is? Okay, you can also make yours. It is very easy, guys. I know it is a long video, but then it's actually worth the time. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Like my content please, and also share. And if you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe. Okay, it means a lot. Okay, please subscribe. Okay, just one more thing, I actually unstitch the applique. Okay, it is actually more neat that way. Don't use a machine, and stitch your applique to the bustier or anything it is. Okay, I prefer to unstitch it. So this is what the front looks like, and this is what the back looks like. Okay, that is the hook and eye. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. See you in my next video. Bye.